variation, or in this case, what makes this piece sound Spanish. If you listen carefully at the end, that's the Spanish clue. If we isolate just John's part, and if you simplify that a bit, okay, those chords are a variation of this. They sound very similar, right? Okay, that's called the Andalusian cadence. Okay, what I'm telling you is that you've heard that ingredient in a lot of music, and that's what gives it its Spanishness. That's the paprika in the paella. I heard that one on Tom and Jerry. But the music also tells us that it's Spanish because of these three notes. Those are the last three notes that we just played for you, and those are the last three notes of the four-chord Andalusian. Here it is. John, play those four chords again. You're distracted away from that because Bion is playing so beautifully on top of it, but that's the underpinning of that section. By the way, there are plenty of non-Spanish pieces that use the Andalusian. For example, you might be too young to know that. That's good vibrations, Beach Boys. Those four chords are from the Andalusian. Or this is another one. You know what that one is? Anyone? Time. It's Hazy Shade of Winter. Simon and Garfunkel, which is also from these four chords. How do we get a piece of music to sound like it's from the Castile region of Spain? Let's take a piece of music that's definitely not from the Castile region. Okay, so we all know what that is. Happy Birthday uses these notes. I don't want to get too technical, but that's called a major scale. What if we played something called the flamenco scale? What is that? That's... If we played Happy Birthday with the flamenco scale, it would sound like this. Now, if you hired a pianist to play Happy Birthday at your kid's birthday party and they played it like that, theoretically they would have been doing their job, but you would want your money back because it's not really right? Because they're using the wrong scale. They're not using the major scale, they're using the flamenco scale. So likewise, if we take the Turina and if we play it in major, this is what it would sound like. So that sounds like a perfectly normal piece of music that you could hear buying a CD somewhere. It sounds fine. Now, if John puts in the flamenco scale, it's going to get you that Spanish quality. Let's listen to this. different notes in that scale give it that extra spice, okay? Now, a rueda has 5 notes and not 4s. Do you see how it has more spice?
Fantastic rendition of Scotland the Brave, and a good imitation of, does anyone have a guess of what it is?
The bagpipes.
Bagpipes, right. Did you notice that Scott was playing a bunch of really small notes in between each main melodic note? Okay, we're going to call these quick, small notes grace notes. Now, the thing about a bagpipe, which I didn't know before, is that a bagpipe is unable to play something as simple as this. Because a bagpipe sustains its sound constantly. It's not able to have space in between notes. So if I would attempt to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star on the bagpipe, it would sound something like this. So we'd have to rename it something like Twink Twink Small Star. Have the same sort of glimmer as I think. Now, for me, it's also not enough information. I need to hear the second syllable, twinkle, twinkle, little star. So bagpipers have to install these grace notes in between each note to show an illusion of space, which is kind of like a good parallel to this is Scott's apartment in New York, okay? Absolutely no space. And it was a kitchen connected to a bedroom, connected to a closet, connected to a bathroom. Now the grace notes could be a closet organizer, which gave him the illusion of space, but still, in reality, there is no space. Now, in effect, Jennifer Margaret Barker put these small grace notes in her piece, which give this sort of Scottish flair to the piece. See what you think. Notice, as John and I play this first movement for you in a few minutes, that John and I not only try to imitate the bagpipe, but we're imitating each other. Therefore, both of us are playing these small notes. All of her compositions seem to have some kind of Scottish flair, and she told me that Scottish folk music shows up in her pieces quite a bit. And she named a specific folk song, My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean. John, do you happen to know that?
I certainly do. Just by chance.
That's lovely. So, thank you, John. Could you add a couple of wrong notes to give it a little bit of spice like Scott?
That's my specialty.
Okay. That's abstract. Now could you play the beginning of the third movement of this piece, which you cannot hear tonight, you can hear it on Sunday. So you can kind of hear My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean under layers of dissonant sounds.
You can imagine the kind of music that Ravel would be listening to in this little basque town. that's not what he'd be listening to. But when you listen to Yankee Doodle, you'd probably count 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 to yourself. You wouldn't be counting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. It's definitely a 2 piece, right? 2 or 4. Now we're going to actually play you a real Basque folk song. And now think about, would you be counting 1, 2 or 1, 2, 3 to this? So how many of you say 2? And how many of you say 3? It's a combination. And
3 and 2.
that's right.
That's 5.
It's a trick question. So that Basque dance is called a zortziko. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. You could think of it as a waltz, but with 1, 2 in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. And there's a lot more to discuss in the first movement, but you'll have to come tomorrow night. The gist of a pantoum is this. You have 2 poems, A and B, and they're related but separate. They continuously alternate. Now, obviously in music you don't have words, but you can definitely have 2 kinds of music. Poem A sounds like this. How would you characterize poem A? Spicy. Okay, that's a good one.
Frantic.
Frantic. Well, that's because I played it that way. That's not. But thank you for being honest. This is poem B. Let's hear how poem B sounds like. How would you characterize that music?
Dramatic. More legato.
It's what?
Flowing.
Flowing. Okay, that's a good one. Passionate. Okay, so we have the panic music and we have the flowing music. What he does is he separates both of these and joins them together. So he goes panicked, flowing, panicked, flowing. So you heard just now A, B, A, B, A. Could you kind of pick out which ones were which? That's not really anything new. What's cool about the pantoum is that if you cut up the music and you have all the A's like in this pile and you have all the B's in this pile and you join them together, all the A's will make one piece of music and all the B's will make another. Bion and John and I were all surprised when I said, hey, if you connect all the A sections, it makes a piece, we were surprised, so we decided we would try it out. And so this is all of the A's.
Yeah.
Could you hear it? It's not very obvious though, right? It sounds, it works. It doesn't sound like a CD is skipping or something. It actually works.
Now this is a 4-movement piece. We've been exploring the first 2 movements. The third and the fourth, in line with the idea that much classical music is folk influence, the third and the fourth actually have an Asian influence. East Asian. The third movement begins with a tune like this. Not many of you could see my hands, but did you notice anything unusual about that tune?
Left hand.
It's the left hand, and I only played the black notes here. So just everything came from this. And there's a bit of history to this. In 1889, there was a World's Fair in Paris, and as chance would have it, 3 of the most prominent composers of the day, Debussy, Satie, and Ravel, were all in attendance there. And one thing that was a revelation at this fair was the gamelan orchestra. Now, these gamelans are these groups of bells and metallophones that are from Bali and Java. They're Indonesian groups. And their heads just kind of exploded when they hear this. It was just the most amazing sound, they thought. And all 3 of these composers assimilated that gamelan tonality into their music. Debussy in his Estampe, a real piano masterpiece from 1903. Satie wrote a number of Nociens. And Ravel wrote something called The Empress of the Pagodas, from his exquisite Mother Goose suite. It goes like this. Again, notice the black keys. This is imitation gamelan music, if you will. And like the third movement of the Ravel, it features all black keys. Ravel also tilts his harmony east. Now, what do I mean by that? The harmony, the chords in this selection, are also extracted from these black notes. As the only non-Asian up here, I have to be careful. Why am I not? Since we love Twinkle Twinkle so much, how about what we consider the Western way? And let's not beat this dead horse, but harmony again. Now, the fourth movement, again, this is what we might consider normal Western way to play this tune. shift things east.